Well, hello and welcome back to Brave New Teaching. Hello, Amanda.
Hey, Marie. Hey, everyone.
And welcome to the second of a three-part series on our favorite topic ever, which we say every time, dystopia. We are talking about dystopia. We've had so many episodes on dystopia. We've done a few different series on dystopia. We have a whole workshop that will plan your entire dystopia unit for and with you.
Yes.
And we're back with more because it's a new world. What's that?
A Brave New Worlds?
Well, no, I was thinking of the Michael Bublé cover. And I'm feeling good. That one.
Okay.
You're welcome. Welcome
You're
back
crazy.
to Brave New Teaching.
Okay, so it's the genre that keeps on giving. I mean, I don't know, maybe
forever.
a lot of our favorite genres, though, like every workshop we have is a genre that keeps on giving. And I think
Truly.
dystopia in particular is feeling like really close to home these days. But I think that's what's exciting about it is that you can, and also an indicator that it's good for kids. If the conversation is still fresh, then that's good for kids, right? Who is this for? The question we're always asking,
Totally.
who is it for? It's for the kids. And if we are this like filled with ideas and excitement to teach it, that is a pretty strong indicator that there's plenty for kids to get excited about too.
Yep. And we do keep having these conversations. It is absolutely very much at the forefront of news cycles right now. Just the idea of like, are we living in a dystopia? Which takes us back to one of our former episodes from like way early in the podcast in Brave New Teaching, living in a dystopian world. Like,
yes.
And it was all about, the pop song by Madonna herself. But last week, if you missed that episode, we talked all about two new essential questions to try in your classroom. We actually like workshopped and made them live on camera and as we were recording. So if you have not yet been able to listen to or to watch that episode, I suggest that you maybe do so before diving into this one, because this one we're going to like use those questions in order to talk about skills and the best, in our estimation, in our decades of combined teaching experience, the best skills to hone and explore through this genre and through these particular questions.
Yep.
Yes. So,
well,
I'm excited. I'm ready to jump in. Are you ready to jump in?
I'm totally ready, but I would absolutely say listening to the first episode will make this one a lot more helpful. But if you're here and you want to hang out, I mean, that's cool too.
Yeah. And if at any point you're like, I feel like I need more context, head to the show notes, head to the description box, wherever you are watching or listening. And we have so many different resources for you, including Happy Hour, which is our like teacher work club, where we're continuing this conversation in our little like live work sessions over the next couple of months. And we have our workshop on dystopia. We have so many dystopia episodes. Yes, just head there. But without any further ado, let's get on in and cue the music.
You're listening to Brave New Teaching, and we are so much more than a podcast.
We give teachers the inspiration, support, and tools to challenge the status quo.
I'm Amanda, and I'm a former English teacher from Illinois.
And I'm Marie, and I'm a high school teacher from Southern California.
Join us after the show and happy hour to extend your BNT experience with instant access to our resources, workshops, and courses.
Visit shop.bravenewteaching.com/happy hour to join us today. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the show. All right, Amanda, I feel like we should start by talking about the typical skills that we teach when we are looking at dystopia. And I feel like I don't say typical, like, oh my God, that's what everybody, it's more like, because this genre lends itself so well to teaching characterization and character arc. Like, that is one of the best ways to learn about how a character develops is by watching them completely change, but seeing that whole process. So like, I'm not dogging teaching character arc and characterization with dystopia. I feel like that is such a rich conversation, but let's start with some of the more typical ones so we can get to one that we think is really ideal.
And so I would say a quick caveat before we jump in too. Like we are kind of the first episode of this series. We talked about knowing this when you wrote your essential question, kind of like knowing all what Marie and I are doing is assuming in this episode that we're headed towards some kind of lit analysis summative. That the goal of your dystopia unit is going to be analyzing the literature, the moves, the techniques, what the author is doing in order to
Sorry, I guess
do
this is very,
something
very
literary.
moving for me because my eyes have just been watering like crazy.
Please don't cry. Please don't cry.
Summatives just move me so
There,
much. No, I
there
got
are, but there are other ways to do it, right? Like you
yes.
could absolutely be asking your essential question from an argumentative standpoint and just focusing on a multitude of other texts and examples and like maybe doing research or maybe doing
Yeah.
they're doing a paired something with another. Like, there are lots of, so that is just to say there are other ways to go, but if you're going the lit analysis
Right.
route, these are kind of like the lit techniques and moves that we would focus on so that we don't get runaway train, because that's usually the problem, is that rich genres like this
You
have
try to do too much. I know, because it makes our brains who have already been through college, maybe even grad school, have been teaching at least through a credential program. If you're a brand new teacher, first of all, welcome. Good for you for like expanding your teaching prowess even
Amazing.
in your free time. But like our brains go all of these different places. A student's brain might, but probably doesn't, because it's new to them for the most part. It is new information. They are just digesting it for the first time. And so while we want to go this and that, and also that, like what we call shiny object syndrome does our kids such a disservice. And then by default does us such a disservice because we lose the thread. Like it's just gone. So while it feels like, and we've talked about this a lot on Brave New Teaching, like it feels sometimes like, oh, what a shame that I didn't mention this and this and this, and we didn't look at this and we didn't read through this and watch this. It's so much better to keep it simple and keep it straight through one train. Yes, give students choice. I'm not saying take away that kind of stuff, but keep focus on the end goal. And that's why summative in mind, look at the skills that you're going to be teaching in order to design a summative that shows whether or not students learn those skills. And the way to choose those skills is through your standards. And if you already know that you're teaching dystopia, then let's look at what it lends itself to the best.
The signature moves.
Signature moves like this.
That's how we talk about it over here.
Yes.
So that said, right, so let's talk about your summative. So if your essential question is, at the end of the world as we know it, which comes first, survival or rebuilding? If that is your unit EQ, ideally your summative is that question with the little caveat, which is, and how does the author do it?
Yes, it's answering that question through.
How does Suzanne Collins do it? How does Bradbury do it? Right? How do they do it?
Write me an essay on that. Give me a presentation on that. Address that in a Socratic seminar, but like whatever it is,
a one-pager, whatever.
Yes, whatever the thing is that they're making, their prompt is your essential question. And so
and how do they make it is what we're trying to solve now, is what are we going to highlight along the way that are those tools, those things that dystopian authors do to reflect, like let's go back to that arc, but now we know that like that's what it's serving, right? We're trying to serve our kids a way to answer this question that's not the first time they've been smacked in the face with it.
We're not just looking at how Katniss changes or stays the same or both, right, throughout the arc of the first Hunger Games book. We are looking at how that arc helps answer the question, is she looking to survive or rebuild?
Yes. Oh, hearing it out loud is even better than hearing it in my head.
I know, right? So like we're looking at that, and I've just completely blanked on any other. I'm so basic right now. All I have is Katniss. I mean, I love her; she's my girl. But like,
well, Montag. We're going to talk more about like fresh new books too in our very last episode of the series.
Wait.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tierney.
Yep.
That's another great example, right? Where you've got these we had a whole slew in the like late 90s, early 2000s, right, of dystopia books coming out that had these like plucky, strong female protagonists who start off this way, but they do have quite an arc. And if that arc looks at what is first, surviving or rebuilding at the end of their story. Oh, I'm throwing pencils, Amanda.
Stop throwing things. But
I'm
yes.
throwing things around. So, okay, there's character, right? Some of the other typical things that we look at when it comes to dystopia. Setting is a huge one, right? Like place and time is huge. How does the place and time in which this story takes place help us understand whether you survive or rebuild?
Yeah.
Like what is the focus? What else? What else do we look at when we're looking at dystopia? What did you write down?
I also wrote down, I mean, just generally theme. And when I say theme, I mean like the goals of the genre, right? The goal of a dystopia is to criticize the current world that we live in, right? To turn our attention, right, inward and then outward again, right? And like think about how the things that are operating in our current society have the potential for harm. So like, and then right, and then there are like sub themes to all of that depending on the novel.
And you can find little plot points to pull apart that students can use. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So I think between those, right, but all of these, like Marie just kind of said, are very broad. And so I like to kind of go through the process in my head too of thinking, okay, so if we're going to talk about characterization, if we're going to talk about setting, if we're going to talk about theme, and for just a second, forget about the EQ. What are when we kind of get really close, like we get into a close read, we get into discussions and like really zooming in on scenes and moments from these novels, what do I hope and know kids are going to find to discuss those at a higher level? So right, so I can say, right, I could just do characterization, we could look at traits, but traits aren't necessarily doing the heavy lifting of changing the characterization, right? Like they are one thing and then they are another, but what are the other author's tools here that we could really gift students in their vocabulary so that they can talk about it? And I think for me, the signature move that works for all of these in dystopia is juxtaposition.
Absolutely.
And I think juxtaposition is really hard to teach in other places. Like I wouldn't teach juxtaposition in a memoir unit. I mean, you could in isolation, but if you teach juxtaposition all unit long through dystopia, they're going to get it. They're going to get
it. I mean, for your example, juxtaposition in a memoir unit is post-mortem, right? Like it's after the fact. You look back and you see the juxtaposition of this life moment with that life moment or whatever it is. When you're looking
or
at
it makes a scene prettier or something, like it's
dystopia, it's by design. Fiction,
it relies
it's all there by design. And dystopia as a specific genre of fiction is all about placing two things next to each other and showing not all that glitters is gold, right? Like that's the whole point and the whole idea. Well, so then let's take an example. Like I love what you're saying about the character arc and like, character traits change. They're one thing and then they're another. The catalyst for that change is a character confronting something that is juxtaposed, right? Like the catalyst for that change is somewhere within the character's experience. And that's where, like you were saying, giving students a vocabulary to talk about these things like juxtaposition is so good. And it's so hard to teach them things like juxtaposition, but doing it in a way like this is so approachable. And it's that stuff that we put together without realizing we're putting it together because we're better at it because we're older and more practiced.
A quintessential example is Fahrenheit, right?
Yes.
Montag needs Clarice
in
order to evolve.
Yes.
Right. So if you want to take right, if you're maybe teaching Fahrenheit at a younger level, you certainly could just like we said, follow character arc. Some of the plot events, you can talk about them in very like broad strokes as these events or these moments change him. But you could also relatively easily introduce juxtaposition and be like, actually what this is called. When we have a contrast that's really obvious like this is what it's called, and explore deeply. We talked about depth versus breadth before.
Yep.
Explore
Always.
deeply on repeat how this juxtaposition keeps speaking to us about the character arc, about the themes of dystopia, and that it hinges, right? The entire story's outcome, the conflicts, they all hinge on this difference between Montag and Clarice. The symbols are juxtaposed. The images are juxtaposed. The characters are juxtaposed.
Yeah.
The setting is juxtaposed.
Yeah.
Why? So what? What are the
Right.
effects?
What is this
Looking at,
illustrating? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and kids will get better. Can you imagine your kids like starting to learn it at the beginning and what they're going to be able to say in a sentence about juxtaposition by the end if you actually just cool your jets and stay there
Yeah.
and
Well, and
don't
the
throw
Venn
1,000 more
diagrams
things at them?
alone. The Venn diagrams are just getting me all hot and bothered, right? Like just thinking about it.
It's powerful.
I can't quite control the emotions I feel about two intersecting circles.
Okay, all right. Slow
All
your
right.
roll. But that's
I
kind of what we
will
mean with like,
never.
juxtaposition and character. Like those two are
Yeah.
already like a perfect pair up, right?
Well,
Like
and
that to me is super
setting.
helpful.
I mean, you think about the setting of any dystopia where you've got the haves and the have-nots, right? You've got where the haves are, you've got where the have-nots are. The middle is the general place and the time, and then you've got what it
Yep.
looks like in these two different settings. And then it opens up these wonderful conversations for where in history of the real world have you seen this exact type of thing? Like you can bring
Yes.
you can bring in parallels, you can bring in so many different things by simply taking juxtaposition and, like Amanda said, keeping it. Just keep it the whole time.
Stay there.
Beep, 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 beep. This conversation also illustrates the kind of top part of vertical alignment. So if you're
Yes.
looking at, I know that dystopia starts, like Amanda was saying, a lot of times in middle school, 7th, 8th grade with like The Giver, or what are some other ones that we do a little bit younger?
Even Hunger Games, some
Even
people
Hunger
do with
Games too.
younger
Yeah, yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of these, if you start with those like foundational skills, like we're talking about characterization and traits and, you know, shifts
Yep.
in personality in the arc.
Developmentally appropriate. Mhm.
Exactly. And then you keep going up in grade levels, getting to a point of juxtaposition, you can have an amazing Socratic seminar where students can pull in other texts and other things. Yeah, the potential for such rich conversation is what I think is really key to the skills that you want to look at. And that's why, like, if it seems easy, because like doesn't juxtaposition seem easy with these types of stories?
Yeah.
It's because it is, and that's why we should do it. Like, it's okay for it to be easy.
That's great. Well, and what ends up happening is actually one of our biggest teacher goals is that students start to recognize it in other places.
Yes.
Right? I say look at the district in the capital, and the student across the room goes, "Oh, that's kind of like the Barbie movie." Right? That's right.
Yep.
Right? Like they start to say, "Oh, it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of like,
Mhm.
oh, that's kind of like this." And hello, like that is exactly
Yep.
what I want. Like, I'm never going to hear it. I don't think, when this child is 25 and, watching some kind of world event unfold or watching
Yeah.
something on TV, but they're going to say, "Oh, that's kind of like." And I think that one of the things that we are not given permission in our credential programs or undergrad, or maybe
Yeah.
just never even like thought about, but the depth versus breadth, I'm going to keep coming back to, because that is just, I don't know, it's game changer for me, getting permission to stay somewhere and to really let kids know it well.
It's what makes things effective or not, or ineffective, frankly. Like, I will die on that hill.
Stop trying to do too much.
Yes, going with depth and actually getting into, let it get boring for a minute and then keep digging. That's
okay.
where I have the fire to keep doing the work, to keep developing and redeveloping and refining and just redoing like throwing it out the window and bringing some things back with my curriculum. It's because it actually can't be that hard, and it's not, but it is hard work. Just because something's not impossible doesn't mean it's not hard work, right? And so that's, I know I've lost the plot a bit, but I'm coming
you're
back.
there. But I think this is all to circle back. Like, we could talk, I have a lot, I'll also link some things in the show notes about juxtaposition specifically, but I think that this is just another reminder to you as a collective educational world.
To me?
That it's okay to let kids get bored, right? We talk about our own children. Like, boredom is great. Boredom is necessary for development. On the other side of boredom is unmatched creativity. And I think it also is a signal for us to prioritize what actually matters. Like, do you need to do another Kahoot with 75 lit terms? Like, yeah, like, it's kind of fun, but like, is that really important?
Is it fun?
Maybe to push play and like not have to really teach anything, but
So
like
fun.
and those of you who are teaching right at the AP and honors level, you're over there saying, but there's a list. But what about metonymy and synecdoche? Okay, slow down. Because you know that like all these like core tools, authors' tools, if kids really know them well and can talk about them deeply, everything we've ever complained about with analysis, and my kids are explaining and not analyzing, you're probably giving them way too much to pick from.
Yeah.
Hone it in, help them get good. If your kids are good at doing characterization, setting, and juxtaposition, you're going to go pretty far.
Well, they're just going to be able to do so much more.
Yeah.
So much more. And then the other things that are kind of icing will come easier because they get those foundational skills in. Yes, absolutely.
And then you repeat this unit by unit, right? So like the next unit, you're thinking, okay, so signature move for dystopia was juxtaposition. Nailed it. I love that we're doing Gothic fiction next because that's going to come up and they're already going to know that really well. So now we're going to look at blah, right? Whatever it is. And we're going to look at the weather, right? Like weather symbolism, sure, whatever. But like
mood, yeah.
If you go unit by unit, you could really have, right, 6 units of what if it was just 6 things? Maybe it's 12, right? That's just 2 per unit. And they would know 12 authors' moves really well.
Well, and
in one school year.
I'm only teaching 1 grade level to this child at a time, right? So then I always have to remind myself, or especially earlier in my career, I am one person they see throughout their day. They're getting a lot. I need to give them like mainline, Pulp Fiction, adrenaline. Just get straight to the point. That's all they need. Yes. I know. Okay, listen, I am like chomping at the bit right now to talk about other texts. And like, I keep stopping myself because I have them written on my little list down here.
I know!
I'm like flipping out my headphone and everything. Because the third and final part of this little mini series is news stories. It's different texts. It's things that you may have heard of but haven't brought into your classroom. We're going to have a whole big list of like 25 plus of our best, some of them tried and true, but most of them new titles to add into your dystopia realm. And we are very excited to talk about them.
Yeah, because whether you're doing a whole class novel or you're doing choice, we have got you covered.
And we've got supplements. We got all of it. But yes. So stay with us. Make sure that you come back for the next episode. If you wanted more information on any and all of this stuff, again, head to the show notes. Please join us in Happy Hour. It's so fun. And we can't wait to keep having these conversations and build this curriculum in real time at our little live work sessions. The ones over the summer were so fun. Like just building a full unit, just sitting there for an hour. So fun. Anyways, friends, if you're at school, have a wonderful week at school. We're going to let you go. It's time. And if you're not yet at school or if you're somehow off and in the world, congratulations. And we hope you're having a wonderful week.
Good for you.
Good. How nice for you. And we will see you next time. Okay. Okay. Bye.
Thanks again for listening to Brave New Teaching.
We'd love to keep the conversation going over on Instagram.
And while you're there, check out the links in our bio for the most up-to-date events going on in Happy Hour and the Brave New Teaching community.
Thanks for being here and have a great week at school.